Hello everyone, welcome back, and today we're gonna do just a normal flight in the Dash 8. We've done a lot of tutorials lately, and I just wanted to fly in someplace exotic and just enjoy the aircraft. So you join me here today in the Philippines, Zamboanga Principal International Airport. We're parked on the ramp, and we're closing in on about 16:30 local time, and we're gonna follow this flight Air Philippines 299er3 over to Cebu. So expect some nice scenery from the X-Plane map enhancement add-on. We'll be crossing a couple of islands, and in between we have the ocean here in the Philippines. So we are taking over an aircraft that just came in. This aircraft started out this morning, and the captain's already jumped on board, started setting up, and we'll just do a very quick walk around. You can see the angle of attack vane here is just moving in the wind. It wouldn't do that in real life unless it's blowing really hard. And the ground crew is connected. Checking state of tires. Nothing big going on here. This is just a takeover from previous crew. They haven't reported anything bad with the aircraft, anything wrong, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time since we have the walk around video. Checking the boots, props, checking air intake for the engine, that nothing's stuck in there. No damages to the nacelles. Checking tire and brake wear, not modeled here. Nothing stuck up in the wheel well. Again, no damages to the lights. Leading edge boots. Nav light is showing the correct on the main bulb, not the secondary. And this is, again, Q400 FlyJSim stuff. It's a little bit too bright, like all the lights in the aircraft are. Checking static dischargers, all are there, no damage. Checking rear part of the main wheel assembly, checking brake pin wear, and again checking up here, and we would see if the gear lock pin was installed from behind there, but it's not modeled. Good, flaps look good. We could check the pressure on the accumulator here. Door is closed, tail looks fine. Fuselage looks pretty straight. No hard landings, it seems. Checking for static wicks. And nav light on the rear is shining. Everything looks pretty good. Cargo door, they haven't started loading. You can see they're driving up. Rear service door is closed. Flaps are fine here. We would check the fire protection squibs, the bottles that they haven't blown. I think there should be two here, one yellow and one red, but it's just modeled one gray. Again, tires, brakes, pin, just general state, flaps, ailerons, static wicks, and nav lights, boots, engine nacelle, all hatches are closed. Brakes on the front, nothing stuck in here. Watch your head on the prop. Prop looks fine, engine nacelle looks fine, and nothing stuck in here either. And finally just check that the air stair door looks fine, and that the gaskets around the door are in position and no wear or no tears in them. They are quite important since they will inflate in the air, and then seal the fuselage so we get a pressure cabin. If you have something wrong with them, like it might happen in the winter, especially if you have water running in and then it freezes up in higher altitudes, and the gasket will deform and not seal properly. So the flight attendant will hear a whistling noise from the door. Nothing dangerous, and the aircraft will still pressurize. It's just quite annoying, and if it's too bad, you would land and check it, but most likely you would just fly to the next airport, have a technician meet you, and try to remove the ice. We've had it happen, I think, on all doors, and one time we had it on the escape door over here, on this door. So ice was building up on the inside of the gasket here, and I think almost all of the gasket was full of water when the maintenance started working on it. So it was quite a task to fix that. Very good. Everything looks fine, and we will jump into the flight deck. So everything is fine here. We will just hide the yokes for now. And this is the first video I will be flying with the new Moza AY210, I believe it's called. And I will be doing unboxing and review of that yoke later on. I posted a teaser picture of several Moza boxes. I also have the AB9 Airbus style side stick, along with some hardware to attach it to my desk. I'm still waiting for a stick for the AB9. I've ordered, I don't remember what the company is called, but it's another company that makes very good side sticks. So I'll get that hopefully within a few weeks, and then we'll make some videos about it. Let's quickly do some flows. Nose wheel steering is off and everything else here looks fine. And spoilers are in taxi. We'll fly from the left side, so that's fine. Everything's booted up, just lock, and disc off, flaps is up, gears down, pumps are off. GPS landing flap is 15, and everything else here looks fine. On the right side, everything is fine. We have the anti-skid is on. Burst tie is on. All ice protection is off. Lights, just position is on. And everything else looks good. The generators, both DC and AC, are on. Bleeds off. Packs are in auto. The emergency lights, they would be off, but in the pre-flight flow, they go to armed when you're boarding passengers. So we'll just leave them for now. That's fine. Let's quickly have a look at Navigraph. So this is where we're going today. Zamboanga is down here on the south part of this island. We'll do the departure and head straight up for Cebu. Looks like it will be, is it 04 right? Is that, let's see, departing to 7, just like the real aircraft just did. And up at Lapu, Mactan-Cebu International. 04 right, that's the long runway. We could probably land on both, but we'll, easily land on both. But we'll do right, that's fine. And it says the Para 1 Whiskey. So that's just straight out, right turn over to Paral and then follow it up. So around the mountain down on the south end of the island. And I saw the real aircraft do that on flight radar as well. We're not gonna worry too much about sim brief other than flight level 230. And it's planned block fuel 3004. That's quite a lot for a 53-minute flight. 3-4, I would maybe expect that perhaps it's even high for that. But if you're taking off from Cebu and you don't want to refuel here in Zamboanga, then you could take that. But going from here, you would not have that much fuel at all. So we'll reduce that to, I think, 2004. That's more than enough. So let's just get loading going. Select load, and as usual, I want to stay below 26 tons in this add-on. I don't like it when it's too heavy. It doesn't fly right. We never have anything in the forward hold, almost, at least not at these weights. Let's say we have, 40, 2.4, and 6, yeah. So about 24 tons ramp weight. A light flight today, about half full. And we'll confirm the load. And let's see, we have temperature is 30 degrees. And ground distance 254. Total taxi both here and on the other end 10 minutes, that's fine. So that leaves us a reserve of 429, yeah. It's saying lower here, but we will go 230. Confirm, start, and they will get loading. And while the ground crew is doing their work, we will jump into the FMS. So let's bring up Navigraph again, and the route today is Romeo Papa Mike Zulu, and we're going to Romeo Papa Victor Mike. Enter Mactan-Cebu. And in between here we have Paral. And then press list, airway, Golf 578, that's number 1, the only one. And we're going to Eldin. And that's the only points we need. Let's press menu, and we're departing runway 27 via the Paral 1 Whiskey, that's number 9. And we'll prepare our arrival as well. Menu, arrive, 04 right is number 2. And that's the Aldin 3 Papa, number 1. And let's, yeah, it's just on RB, RNAV, 04 right. And let's bring up, looks like Kulas. So Kulas is the straight-in initial approach fix. And we can just do our check, our briefing. It's straight out Mike Zulu 522, max 250 knots. Right turn Mike Zulu 524, max 250. Continue right, Mike Zulu 526, Paral. And then it's routing to Alden. At Paral, let's do 230. Okay. Well, that's excessive. Let's remove this one. And this happens in the real aircraft as well, that you get some altitudes that are designed for jet aircraft, but even 660. That's that's a bit much. Okay, so it doesn't want to do this for some reason. Let's try it here then. Good. This doesn't really mean anything. It's just a reminder that this is our cruise level. We decide our top of descent via VNAV or just calculating in our heads and then starting with VNAV or vertical speed. So there's nothing here other than our own reminder. Things you would get in an arrival, that would be constraints. The aircraft doesn't follow them by itself, so you still have to do that. The VNAV will look at it, but it's basically up to the pilot. It's a very manual aircraft, right? So just pay attention to that. It's not as automated as an Airbus, for example. Okay, and we can just have a quick check here as well. It's Arola, then Kulas. Let me just find all the three Papa. Alden, here it is. So it's Alden, Arola above 8. It doesn't say that, so we'll check for that. Is this the right one? Nope, this is the right one. Let's change. So Alden above 10, Arola, there's no constraint. Kulas above 4, and we're 5.5. And we'll continue down. Victor Mike 04 Alpha. That's 3,000 feet platform. Victor Mike 04 Bravo 24 mandatory max 185. Final approach fix. That's at 24, and it's continuing down. And we'll do the approach briefing with go around missed approach later on. Very good. We'll remove that for now. Let's have a quick look at loading. We will do 0 fuel at about 182,000. That's more correct. 38 passengers and 4 crew gives us 42 people on board. I do not want any weight, so I press menu, set the weight to 0, and then return. And since this is the flight sim, it will give us what we actually ask for, nothing more or less. And fuel to 420. Let's bring up the correct screens here. System and fuel and system on the right. So fuel 2420. Fuel on board 2420. And we want about 24. How much we need here? Wow. Just what we needed. I'm not too fussed about these being a 100% correct in the add-on here. We would do that in real life. But again, this doesn't affect how the aircraft flies. This is just calculations for the UNS FMS. So will not care too much. That's all fine. Setup. Go around. Heading altitude. And let me double check. There is no initial clearance on the SID. So we're sea level. It's probably not too high. Let's put 6,000 feet. Probably not too far off the real thing. And airport elevation here is 32 feet on the runway. I'm gonna go by my operator's SOP here and have an acceleration altitude for engine out. That's 400 feet above the airport elevation when there's no obstacles to go around. So for us, that would today be 440 feet. Doors are closing. That's good. Let's swing the heading back around to runway heading. And we can do the pre-flight checklist. Flight deck, checked left and right. So checking that all the fuses are in and that we've done our flow. That's just for when you've left the aircraft or taken over an aircraft. If you're doing a turnaround, you don't need that check list point. Battery switches. We have 4 on, reading 27.9 volts. Altimeters, I've forgotten to check that. It is 1010. 1010, reading about 60 feet. Park brake on, fuel 2420 kilos. And we'll do seat signs on. Checklist complete. And now the cabin crew would come in here and give us the final passenger number. If there's any special passengers, like is there a wheelchair? Are there guns aboard? Do we have police on official business? And once that's done and the seating is submitted to our EFB, we can do our performance calculations. We're going to do the automatic one here and call that good. And then we can just request start and push. First of all, we'll, yeah, there we don't need push here actually. We will just taxi out. So we can just request startup from ATC. And Air Philippines 2993, request startup. Start approved, QNH 1010. Okay, so start checklist. First, push this to red. And check that the hatch is closed. This is red. Check that door light and the fuel light down on the bottom right is off. Gust lock is on. Disc off. And doors fuel lights are out. Anti-collision is red. Engines are cleared left side and cleared right side. Checklist complete. Ground cockpit ready to start. Number 2. Start 2. And we have ground power, so we can just go on that. Over to number 2. Start. Wait a few seconds for the NH. Not applicable in the sim. Bring in the fuel. We have fuel flow. Low turbine is spinning up. ITT is rising. Oil pressure rising. And the prop starts to spin. Everything looks good. The click and ding was the starter cutting out. And this will stay lit for 15 seconds. That's good. Check battery that we have not more than minus 0.3, 30% load. And then starting 1. And introduce the fuel. My camera hangs on the mouse, but I've noticed that's fixed in the latest beta. I'm running on live version for this recording, but that's good that they finally fixed it. So looking for the same things here. There's no hot start, there's no hung start. The FADEC will fix many things by itself, but oil pressure is one of the things it won't stop the start sequence for. So just pay attention to that. Everything looks good. Graph cockpit, you may disconnect and have a nice day. So they've already removed the GPU because I put it on auto. And we will get a wave off from ground crew. Props to max. And once we have AC power that comes with a higher RPM on the engines, then the generators will kick in. Just like that. Captain will close the main bus tie. Pedostatics, there's different operator procedures here. Some put them on now, some put them on when they enter the runway. Just since I'm single pilot, I'll put them on right now. It's hot here, so we don't need the windshield before we're in the air. This is fine, and it's hot, so we'll give the passenger some bleed air. Just remember to turn it off before departure. And we'll do our rudder check. Full left and right. Check spoilers. Yaw damper on. And the weather radar to standby. Nose wheel steering on. And the first officer will set the flaps. Auto feather, tank, aux pumps on. Standby, PTU on. Hydraulic tree isolation valve. And then you would, let me enable the yokes again. Then you would check that it holds pressure, like this. Push it off, a little wiggle to reduce the pressure, and the caution light would go out then as well. And if you want to do a reduced power takeoff, and that's what we usually do, you would press this to the number that's calculated in your EFB. Down to 80% or 81 is shown in the real aircraft. Power looks good here, so we'll do screens back to nav on both sides. I forgot to sync the FMSS. Let's just cross-fill. Good. So after start checklist, bus tie is off. Spoilers, taxi, standby hood PTU on, normal indications. Water feather slack, tank aux pumps on. Trims 1, 2, 3 set. Flaps 5 set and checked. All clear, received, checklist complete. So, Air Philippines 293 request taxi. And just taxi to the runway. Backtrack lineup 27. Very good. Press the brakes. Park brake off. Taxi light comes on. Cleared left and right. And let's see if we can just swing it on right out here. You can use a little bit of differential power. So I'm just using the right one to swing around and go straight out. Air Philippines 293, enter backtrack lineup runway 27. So we'll do strobe to white, landing lights on, cleared left and right, and I forgot the transponder. Let's switch it to 2000 for now, and press and hold to turn it on. Good. So it was cleared TA, just to confirm that the transponder is on. And just a quick recap. We're gonna turn around, face west, take off on runway 27. And we have the Parawana Whiskey departure. Cleared up to 6,000 feet. Altitude select and transponder is checked. We'll turn around here, plenty of runway. While the captain's taxiing, the first officer would also do the enter runway flow. It starts with the lights. We'll just stop here, remove this, and do a full control check. Spoilers to flight. And the before takeoff checklist is caution, warning lights are clear, cabin clear received, and we will do nav to indicate that. Flight controls checked, spoilers flight, checklist complete. And Air Philippines 293, you are cleared for a takeoff runway 27. And I don't have a binding for this now. Let's just do it like that. And remember the bleed. Min off. Let's go. Advance to autofeather arm. Let me get this on. Set power. Power set. 80 knots. V1, rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Gear up checked. Select LNAV. LNAV selected. 400 feet. Flaps 0. Flaps 0 checked. Set climb power 900. So just remember to turn off the autofeather and reduce the RPM to climb power. Climb power 900 is set. We're above 1,000 feet, so we can engage the autopilot. Autopilot engaged. And the pilot monitoring would do the after takeoff flow. Turn off the pumps, check that gear and flaps is up. With the flaps comes bleeds, don't forget that. It's easy to forget with single pilot operations. Turning that off. Very good. We're cruising out. So we'll turn over and around this mountain on the departure. On Air Philippines, climb level 230. Okay, so we have our flight level 230 set, altitude select, set standard, passing 50, set and cross check, climb checklist, gear is up, flap 0, pressurization is checked, so check both the buttons, the setting and the cabin pressure. Altimeters standard, checklist complete. Swing the heading back around. A little bit different flying a Dash 8 down here in tropical climate rather than in Northern Europe with snow and storms and, yeah, de-icing. Must be nice flying for an airline that probably doesn't even have a de-icing procedure. Or maybe they have, but never used at least. I'm gonna put IS 185, should have done that already, but you can climb on 160 if you want to. And let's do pitch about 5 degrees. It's nice and calm. Let's release the passengers and cabin crew. Approaching 10,000. We'll just do a very quick check that everything looks good on the pressure. So if you've forgotten it, this is a very good time to catch it because you can level off just for a little bit, turn it on, pressurize the cabin and not get any warning. There's nothing bad will happen. It's just a little bit embarrassing, but it happens from time to time. We have what we need on here. We can turn on the windshield heat now since it's below 20 degrees. So what pitch at about 5 degrees gives you is at lower altitudes, you're starting out on a climb profile that should be about 210 knots after the initial 185 knots climb. And when you're climbing, this indicated speed will, of course, go down because you have less air molecules. Your true speed will go up. As you can see now, 202 unindicated, 250 true down here on the screens. 202, 251. Ground speed, a little bit headwind, so that's lower as well. And the airspeed here will drop with the pitch. And that's also normal. If you look at a climb profile table for the Dash 8, a pitch 5 climb will very closely follow normally what the recommended speeds are. So it's just a little bit of a lazy way to do the climb, but it's very normal. Some pilots prefer to keep a higher ground speed, so they might just do IS 210 further up. That will give you a shallower climb. And so I have not done the math. I have not heard of anyone doing the math either on what is best. But I think the official tables should give you the most efficient routing or performance. But efficiency is, of course, built up of several things. And in today's market, economy is the biggest. If you're flying 5 minutes slower, but you're saving a few $1,000s in fuel, of course you're gonna save. Fuel is the biggest cost now. Pilot operating cost, at least in Europe, is lower than the fuel for the most part, as far as I know. So the name of the game these days are just economy cruise. We fly faster if we're very late, and the delay would cause increased costs in either this aircraft being delayed for the next sector or our passengers not reaching their connections. Especially important if there are connections that might just happen a very few times a day or in the week. so you don't have to put them up for a hotel for 1 or more nights. Or if it's the last flight of the day, for example, then you would have to put them up on a hotel for the night until they can reach the next flight in the morning. So we're just gonna zoom out a bit. And another question, at least I had from student pilots, is what is the correct range to have on your navigation displays? Both in bigger aircraft, but when I was instructing, it was on smaller aircraft, GA. And what my IR instructor told me is there is no correct answer, but do something that makes sense. So in this case, if I go to a max range, well, I can see that there is a turn, but I can't see how far it is because this middle ring is 120 nautical miles. I can do a sanity check here and see that my routing to Cebu is in this direction, and that makes sense. So in that case, it's a good thing to have a long range. But for flying now, I would like to have it so I can quickly see that it's, well, just about 10 miles, a little bit over 10 miles, since it's a 20-mile ring and this is about halfway, a little bit over. That gives me a sense of direction. If I have a TCAS, other aircraft in the area, it would be easier to judge their distance and speed compared to me on a shorter range. So it very much depends on what flight phase you're in. When we're on cruise, you can increase it if you have long cruise sectors where you want to look far ahead. Yeah, just increase it. When you're coming in for an approach or an arrival, first you start out longer, and as you get closer, you will just zoom in to have a more granular picture and see what is the next waypoint. Is it of any interest to see the waypoint after that? Can I see any constraints in this aircraft where we have the banana for where we're gonna end up on our pre-selected altitude? That's a nice thing to have as well. So, and maybe you want to have a look at terrain further ahead. So many things to consider here. It's just do something that makes sense. That's the most important thing. That's also a mindset to have for what other things you're displaying on, especially on the map. So let's just remove this yoke. It's starting to work a little bit. Sometimes actually the real aircraft does that as well. You can use the touch control steering on the yoke to bring it out of it sometimes. That beep was pre-level 230 standard. So just double check alt select is there. It's the correct altitude and we have the correct pressure setting. Today it was just 3 hectopascals different, so you wouldn't really bust anything by much within 100 feet. But you might get a call from ATC asking why you're not on your level. And as we talked about, true airspeed, it's staying about the same here. Indicated is going down, and it's gonna improve now when we're leveling off. Let me quickly check in the OFP what our cruise speed today is. It's saying true of about 330. So altitude captured. We're gonna set condition levers to 850 max cruise. So we have MCR max cruise and 850 on the props. Fuel flow about 1 ton is correct, and we want to decrease that if we can, depending of course on on your flight plan and what's programmed for today, or if you're late. Let's see what 330 true gives us on indicated. A very normal economy indicated speed is about 210 these days. And you would often see closer to 400 kilos fuel flow for each engine when you're doing economy cruise. You can disable these for a bit as well. As soon as we have reached our cruise speed, I will also program the VNAV, mostly as a reminder, so we don't forget to go down. It's way too easy sometimes if you have a nice colleague in the cockpit to talk too much. So it's nice to use the tools you have to have reminders as well. It shouldn't happen, of course, but we use the tools we have. On a straight-in approach like this, we'll also try to tune some nav aids and have a DME distance to sanity check our descent path. We're closing in on our cruise speed. I'll start bringing the torque down. Let's start about 54 and see where that leaves us. You can also see the fuel flow decreased by over 60 kilos for each engine. Speed is decreasing just a little bit. Let's give it 1 or 2 more percent. It's powerful engine, so 1 or 2% can give you quite a lot. Oh, it seems like it's about stable. Again, we're flying a dash. It's not rocket science, this. It's just get it very close, and depending on the air currents, different fronts, clouds, heat, cold, whatever, different altitudes, you're gonna have to constantly adjust the torque anyway. If you have very stable conditions, you can leave it for quite a while, but mountain waves, for example, you're suddenly stuck in what seems like an uphill and have to increase power by quite a lot. And then you're over and on the downslope of the mountain wave, and you would have to decrease power by equal amounts. So it's a hands-on aircraft to fly, so you have to pay attention at all times. But the speed seems fine now. Let's set up the VNAV and see how far we have left. We're not at Alden. I'm gonna do a VNAV to... we can do... what was it the approach said? I'll bring up Navigraph so you can follow. Cool as, I think I'll do straight into Victor Mike 04 Alpha. Let's try that. That should be 3,000 minimum, about 4. So it's already 600 feet. I want it today at 2,000 feet. So about 22 minutes to go to top of descent. That's fine. Let me crossfill. In the real aircraft, we have automatically synced FMSs, so That's why I forget to update one of them all the time. Not used to this. As you can see now on the map, is this range of any use? Maybe, maybe not. I will probably do something like this. Now we can see that the top of descent will be between Aldin and Arola. And again, it's giving us something totally unreasonable. It's not in the box here, so I'm not sure what it's showing. But it's just the system doing its own things. We know that this is where we need to go down. And I'm also just going to have a quick look at the maps. Is there anything we can tune? This airport only has RMP approaches, actually. Let me show you. So most airports at least have one ILS or a VOR or something as a backup, but this one is just RMP. I wonder if the conditions around this airport are so good that they don't need it. And I don't think... No, none of the maps show any backup nav aids either. We can have a look at the main map. Yeah, here it is. 1143 Mike Charlie Tango 1443. Let me tune that down here. Good. And it says 168 miles. Considering about 100 miles to top of descent, 60 miles descent, that's very reasonable. So that's a sanity check we can have here during cruise. And just to... It's also a thing that when you're flying on the line, one of the things you have to consider while you're on cruise, if you have more sectors, is what fuel do I need? Or do I need refill of coffee water or anything in the cabin? Is there anything we would need maintenance to meet us at the airport when we're landing? Even if it's just a 25-minute turnaround. Do we need anything? Most likely you need fuel. That's a given. Sometimes, like I talked about in the beginning, if you're going out to an airport with no fuel or very expensive fuel and a short turnaround, you'd probably bring fuel. It depends on a number we call FECO. It's a fuel economy type number where they are calculating different costs of the fuel on different places. So in our AFB, on all the sectors we have that day, we will have a green or a red number telling us if it's economical to refuel at that airport. You can always refuel. It's just try to do it at airports with green numbers, if possible. So in those cases, we would most likely, at least on sub or 1 hour or sub 1 hour trips, we would most likely bring fuel, and especially on short turnarounds, so you don't run into any potential problems where you're stuck refueling when you maybe you're a little bit late in, some problem with passengers boarding, and then you get a problem with fuel loading as well. So that's just things we are considering constantly during cruise. Another thing to think about during cruise is all these blue marks on your map. This display is controlled by the data button. So pressing it, this is the default, nothing is shown. Pressing it once, it gives you nav. So these are VORs that you can tune around here. One more press gives you airports. And that's very nice to have in case you have an emergency, especially medical emergencies. If you're going to a smaller airport and you know there is a bigger airport with better medical facilities close by, then just by looking at the map, you know which way you need to turn and an approximate distance as well. So I bet we could just start a descent and turn into Romeo Papa Mike Oscar from here. Since it's 80 miles on this ring, this should be about 60. That's enough for our getting down from 230. Even Mike Papa here with a little bit of turning or a 360 or two, it's no problem getting down. And we can descend pretty fast if we really want to. So at least with a light aircraft, that's no problem. But then again, this is the Philippines. These are just smaller islands, and we're going to a main airport. Most likely, we would just continue to our destination because we are flying such short legs anyway. Anything within an hour, as long as it's not so critical that, well, if you have a cabin fire, that's one of the instances where you would like to get on the ground and get people out as soon as possible. If you have a fire within the fuselage, in the insulation between the inner plastic and the outer metal, and you're struggling to locate exactly where it is, and so in that case you're also struggling to put it out, it might cause severe damage to the structure of the aircraft. That's something you would like to get a handle on as soon as possible, and you will probably not be able to do it in the air. So getting down to an airport and just get people out so they don't get the smoke poisoning, and that's a leading cause of death in fires anyway. So even though there is no open fire, just getting people out will really be important. In the cockpit, you would use your oxygen masks at that point. The cabin would have smoke hoods that are really hot and uncomfortable to wear, but it will save them for, I don't remember now, 15, 20 minutes. But that's a long time to spend within a smoke hood that has chemical oxygen generation, and the chemical oxygen it's a burning process that creates oxygen, so you can imagine it gets very hot inside that hood. But one factor to think about along that line is, do you want to go to any airport to get people out? Or do you want to go to an airport where you have at least some basic fire service that can also help you put it out? And airports are categorized differently, at least in Europe, based on the size of aircraft they are certified to bring in. And that certification is then linked to passenger number, size of aircraft, and what firefighting capabilities they have, depending on the size and passenger number. So it's very easy to think that an airport, as long as it's long enough and have the right approach, well, you can bring an aircraft that can land there into that airport. But you also have to consider rescue operations, and so that's why the Dash in some parts of the world, they could land at more airports, but the airports don't want to pay to have enough firefighting personnel standing by in active periods. So everything's a economic question in the end. Nice weather here in the Philippines today. It's afternoon now, so we're gonna have the sun on our tail when we're landing. Nice aircraft livery as well. So a little bit of channel update as well while we're here in the cruise. As I already mentioned, I got the Moza Yoke and AB9 side stick, just waiting for the side stick. This is, well, at least for now, it's replacing my VKB gunfighter stick. Very good stick, but it's mechanical. And for throttles, I have the Thrustmaster TQ Airbus throttles, but they are modified with a different range of motion and better detents. And I also have new engine start buttons I could modify it with, but I'm also looking at wind control throttles. But for me, flying Airbus, Boeing, and Dash, I would like to find throttles that can do everything. I don't think I will be able. So right now I have the Thrustmasters and I have the TQ6s that are also very good, but those are more GA multi or two-engine aircraft. But I'm using those for everything that's not Airbus at the moment. So throttles are one of the things I'm looking at. And yeah, as I mentioned as well, I'm gonna do a video about the Mozas, hopefully in not too far future. I've been playing around with the software, the cockpit software, to try to find a profile for the Dash 8, and I've been trying to make one myself. But yeah, it's not easy. I find it quite hard to get a feel for it. Force feedback, it's closer to reality than just a mechanical spring yoke or stick. But at the same time, the way it works is just so different from a real aircraft. So yeah, I feel myself getting almost fooled to thinking, oh, this is good. And then I'm reaching a different phase of flight where you have different airflow over the control surfaces, and then it doesn't feel right again. It's too light or too heavy or whatever. The good thing is it's closer to reality. You do get a feel for the flow. I was playing around a little bit in Cessna 172, since there's plenty of profiles for that, and it's very fun to have the elevator getting light as you're accelerating down the runway. So it's drooping when you're still, and then the airflow comes and it's getting more neutral, and you're taking off, and you can feel the control trim surfaces working when you're trimming. So we'll get more into that as I get my head around these things. So I think I have a very short unboxing video. I'm gonna connect that to, firstly, a video about the Yoke, since I'm using that now and trying it. And once I get the rest of the AB9 side stick setup, I will do some testing there and give my impressions, most likely then in the Phoenix in MSFS 24. This, along with, I have small USB USB HDMI display that I'm gonna use for instrument pop-outs. You might have seen other streamers do this as well. Aeronaut did it recently, so that was my inspiration. And this is part of where I'm gonna build myself a cockpit setup here at home. As I've mentioned previously, I've been building a room where I could move my computer and all the setup. And the reason for this was I was sitting in the living room and with a kid of about 10 and my girlfriend. It was hard to have the space and quiet space to both record and to stream anything. Of course, they're at work and school, but she's working shifts, and I would like to do things when I can. So it's easier to have a room, and I wanted to have a dedicated work editing space on my existing desk where I can also just do whatever, watch YouTube videos and stuff, and then not having to have the yoke, at least the yoke, because that's sticking out straight into my stomach when I'm working and you don't have space for your keyboard. And yeah, of course I could just move it, but it's a hassle. So I've also bought a 32-inch very good Asus ROG monitor that I'm gonna wall mount, and then have what is this small screen? I think it's yeah, the size. Yeah, it doesn't even. Yeah, oh yeah, it says here 12 inches in some sort of ultra wide fashion. So I saw Aeronaut, he was putting up 3 displays, both the main and the engine displays on the Airbus, for example. So I'm gonna have a look at that. And all this, I'm hoping to make not a replica cockpit of anything, because I'm gonna use it for all types of aircraft. It's just a way where the yoke, throttles, and side stick, along with a good monitor and instrument monitor, can be hard mounted at all times. And it should also in the future enable me to at least have a yoke cam. I'm not ready to go out with a face cam because I'm still employed as a pilot, and yeah, all the stuff around that. And so we'll see. But that's also something I would like to perhaps make a build video out of that process. And right now I'm getting very close to having the main parts of the gear, so I'm gonna start slowly building plans and getting materials. So we'll see. Hopefully during sometime this year, perhaps the next half year, I'll do that. But we also have some projects at home. Talking about keeping the navigation displays, map displays sensible. It's not sensible now for me, so I'll zoom in a bit. We can see top of descent in 20 miles or 17. It's still about 2,000 feet. The speed has changed a little bit, and that's why the target vertical speed isn't 2,000 anymore. So we are going to do our approach briefing before it's too late. Navigraph is here. We've already looked at the points. Arola, Kulas, we're past Olden, and just 4,250 knots at Kulas, initial approach fix. That's fine. RMP 04, right 12-2 plate. Kulas, this Victor Mike 04 Alpha at 3,000, Bravo at 2-4, final approach fix, max 185, standard 3-degree glide. Cat C, we go to 350, is set for minima. In case of missed, climb on course 047, 2,000 feet, right turn direct, dough gas. Is that in the box? Yes, it is. Then it's Drigo, hold 4,000 as instructed by TC, do not exceed 25 until Drigo, do not turn before missed approach point. We have a message, top of descent alert. And let's hop into the FB. do some speed calculations. We have 115 as ref. Target for me today will be 125 and approach speed 135, 140, and then we'll just slow it down. And let's say we're cleared to 10,000 feet or flight level 100. 100 set, altitude select. Let's do 500 on the vertical speed. VNav is armed, and then just pay attention to your speeds. And let's just finish up here. When we are down, it's most likely Romeo 1, Bravo 4, Delta 1 into parking here. Let me check the weather. So the METAR at Cebu says wind 360, 11 knots. So it's a little bit of a left crosswind. 9,000 meter in light showers of rain. So it's going to be a wet runway. Scattered 1,800 CBs, broken flight level 100, 26 degrees, 23 is the dew point. QNH 1013, very nice, don't have to change that. No SIG. And remark. Looks like there are CBs northeast of the airport. Yeah. So that's most likely the clouds we're seeing. In that case, there's not much terrain here, so I'm gonna switch over to the weather radar. Turn that on. So right now, it's giving us a very big green band on the end. I'm going to bring it up a little bit, and you can see it's going away. So what we're seeing here is either weather or terrain. And in this case, it is most likely, yeah, do we have our own ship? There we are. So we're seeing Kulas. Well, it might. Satellite. Yeah, there are some mountains over there. So it's probably mountains we're seeing, but we are going to keep an eye out for that. But the approach sector, that looks good. Nothing here. If there's CBs northeast, that should be over here somewhere. We're getting a green band, so let's tilt it up just a little bit more and have a look at that speed. Nothing wrong with speeding down, but just pay attention. And we can save some fuel by doing a full idle descent. As we're getting closer, we will give a passenger announcement talking about the weather, arrival time, approximately 10 minutes out. Fasten seatbelt. Cabin crew will start doing their rounds. Let's do something sensible with the map display. And for now, we'll keep speed up a bit. The next checklist we will do is the approach checklist, but the cue to do it is when we are giving an altitude with a QNH. So we will not do anything before that, but what we're talking about there is just having done the approach briefing and setting the speeds So it's those two things and the QNH in the checklist. So that's why we're just waiting with it. But having done everything up until that point, we are ready for doing it. Pretty nice clouds now in X-Plane 12 as well. Perhaps not as good always as MSFS, but can't really complain. What I don't like is I'm sometimes getting white artifacts in the distance. You probably saw it earlier on when we were higher up at cruise. Don't see it now when the clouds are in close. Not sure if it's something to do with my setup. I don't run any color correction or anything special now. It's just vanilla X-Plane. So I think it's part of the build. Start reducing power a little bit, getting closer to 10. When you have a good feel for it, you pretty much know when you're going to have to put throttles all the way to idle, and it will just decrease its speed down to 240 by 8,500 feet, so you're ready for the red line to creep down. We'll just be a little bit conservative now, and it's max 250 at Kulas. And now let's say 4,000 feet. QNH 1013. That's already set. Passing 126 set and cross-checked. Approach checklist. Approach briefing complete. VREF 115, target 125. Altimeters 1013, checklist complete. Cabin is working. Next up is the lights at 10,000 feet, and then just monitoring speed, getting it down. Again, we can decrease the range a little bit because we have the next point within our within the 20-mile range. I'm gonna change to nav. When we are 30 miles out, we should get the arming. There we are. Very good. Approach armed. So we'll just call our nav approach armed. In our aircraft, we have a difference between LPV, LNAV, VNAV, and LNAV approaches. And we have a little bit of a different setup with lights here that shows what kind of approach is armed. In this version, you will only get it once it's active. And today we'll do what we've talked about in a previous RNAV RMP tutorial. It's going to do automatic activation as we are turning into the final course. Speed is coming down nicely. I just reduce it a little bit more. We're below 10,000. Lights on. Leave the taxi light for the landing clearance. We are at plus 10 degrees, so no shouldn't be any icing factors here. A little bit of turbulence in the clouds, and we can show the Yoke that it's actually working a little bit. Pretty fun to see the Moza doing exactly the same. Red line is coming down. I'm gonna, since it's moving so much now, I'm gonna reduce the speed in case you suddenly get a wind shear that will bring you into the red zone. And the map says that Victor Mike 04 Alpha is at 12 miles, Bravo is at 7, so just about that point is when we'll do our config. So zoomed in all the way now. We're below 10, so we can put our pumps on. 4 buttons, 2 for fuel, 2 for hydraulics. That's just a flow. We, at least our operator, we don't have a checklist for it. You can easily land with them off. It's just a backup. And the hydraulics is important if you're going to do a single engine taxi into the sand, just so you're keeping brake pressure. Because the number one engine, left side, is powering the main brakes, hydraulic. Speed is looking fine. It's max 250 coolers. We can't keep that anyway. I'm gonna keep it about 210 to 20 for now. Turning inbound. It's still just armed. The approach. And cleared 3,000 feet. Gonna start walking the speed back slowly, so we're ready at 200 knots for the config. The lights are really bright in this cockpit, even during daylight. Yeah, that's better. That's more natural. Just watch these buttons when I put them to bright again. It's no. This is one of my big gripes with this aircraft. There's just details like this that, yeah, doesn't look good. Now we're getting a gain band here. I never seen this in the real aircraft. One click to the left and it's gone. They say it's to simulate reflections or something. And it's an explained thing. It's not anything the dev team, Amy and them have done. Well, I've never seen it in real life. You probably can if you adjust the gain some way. We have scale change. That means we will get approach active. What should select off? I'm gonna set 4,000 feet for the missed approach. Don't let the speed get too low too soon. We have passed 04 Alpha. Next is 04 Bravo. That's the final approach fix. And that's the point where we'll also do our altitude check. That's very important for an RMP or any RNAV approach, where you're checking that you're on the glide at the correct place. So that's 2.5 miles away. Just gonna keep it about 200 knots. That's what we usually do for the final approach fix. Of course, it depends on how far away it is from the airport and stuff like that, but yeah, at least then you're ready to very quickly get the speed down. We have 25 knots headwind, so no problems today. And we're starting to see the island where the airport is. In real life, for a day like this, I would do a reduced NP landing, but I'm gonna do max since it's this add-on. Okay, we passed 04 Bravo, 2,400 feet, final approach fix altitude checked. Now it's gonna complain a little bit about some, VNAV lags. That's very normal. We have 6 miles to the runway, and I'm gonna call flaps 5, gear down. We're below 200 knots. Speed will start dropping, and Air Philippines 293, clear to land 04 right. Landing light on. With the gear, we do a ding. With the flaps, we do the bleeds to min. Speed is dropping. I'm gonna skip 10 and go straight to 15 below 172. Also a very common thing to do. We have approach lights, both runways. Flaps 15. That's the landing flaps. Now I'm gonna keep about 150, 160 for a little bit until we get a mile or two closer. No reason to fly very, very slowly. Watch the flap speeds. And we can do condition levels max. Landing checklist. Gear down through green. Flaps 15 set and checked. Condition levels max. Wings checked left and right. Cabin clear received. Checklist complete. And we are clear to land. Now I'm gonna start bringing the speed back and disconnecting the autopilot. Autopilot is engaged. Select system standby. And we're flying manually in VMC. Keep approach speed going. If you get a too low approach speed in the real aircraft and in here, you will feel that it's getting way too sluggish. In real aircraft, you can also almost explain it like if you've ever sat on a big inflatable gym ball. If you get low on speed, it's like sliding backwards. It's like you're balancing on top of the ball, and if you can get the speed right, the aircraft just flies very smoothly and very evenly. If you get too low, it's like you're falling behind. So we're slightly high, but we're also a very long runway, and we're gonna taxi off quite far down, so I'm not worried at all. Start bringing the speed down. A little bit high on speed.
50, 40, 30, 20.
Watch the pitch. And we're down. I don't have a keybind for this yet, so we'll do it like this. Okay, need to fix that. 60 knots, control locks on. And taxi off next left to convenient parking. The first officer would now do the cleanup. We'll do the next turn off. That's more suitable. So that starts with bringing the flaps up. Bus ties together. All the ice protection goes off. And then leave the rest for now. Spoilers, yaw damper, switch over. Tank aux pumps off. And weather radar. Sys. Like, oh, that's wrong. I'll fix it afterwards. Sys, fuel sys, there we are. We're leaving one runway, so we would turn off the lights, but we're crossing another one, so we're just gonna leave them on for now. That's just an add-on bug where it's complaining about the ice pressure all the time when you're low RPM. Okay, we're exiting the runway. We can turn landing lights off and beacon to red. We'll taxi over to Terminal 2, I think. Perhaps they would park here on the left on the remote apron. In here looks good. Turn off the taxi lights so you don't blind the ground crew. Hey, don't collide with us, thank you. Set the park brake and condition levers to feather. Bleeds go off, fasten seatbelt and emergency lights go off. 30 seconds cool down. While you're doing this, you would note down all the times you need for the EFB. You can turn off the hydraulics and turn off transponder as well. We have the GPU outside, so we'll do external power. Also do just a little bit of lights here. External power is on, 30 seconds, and kill the engines. Once the prop stop spinning, you can turn the beacon off. Beacon is off, and the ground crew would knock on the door, and the cabin would open the cabin door, and we can open the door, let in some fresh air, and talk to the cabin crew as well. And right now, if we have more legs, no brake, we would just start by deleting the flight plan, putting in the new one, setting up everything, and within 20-25 minutes, you're ready to depart again. And that's about it for today. It's nice flying the Dash in different parts of the world and just flying without having to explain everything. So I want to do this as part of the channel content as well, along with other types of aircraft. So I hope you enjoyed this flight today. It's a bit more relaxed, and I got to talk about some different things going on as well. And this is really what I enjoy doing. And it's been very nice lately to just engage the mind and refresh a little bit of learning and answering questions on the FlyJ Sim Discord as well. So it's very nice when people come into the Discord and actually have good questions about the operation. We are several real-world pilots there, and there are the developers answer from time to time. And it also, I think, gives the developers more of a sense of activity around their add-on. And hopefully, if we push the issues that it have, but also give praise for how good it is, hopefully they will be motivated to push out more updates for it. And updates are needed. It flies fine. But as I will touch on probably in the Moza Yoke review, I found some other issues with the flight model as well, and that are outside the normal envelope. Hey, don't crash my prop. Okay. Refueling should come from behind and below the wing. So, yep. Okay, so that's it for today. I really hope you have a nice day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you next time.